Your business is bigger than your day-to-day, isn't it? You've got more to give, more to create, more to build than what you do daily, right? There's something inside you that drives you, that pushes you, that is the reason behind everything you do. And today we're going to go over 4 steps to finding that purpose, finding that direction in your business. So keep listening. Hi there, I'm Joe Silva. This is the Joe Silva Business Show. So happy you're here. I'm excited about this episode because in our show, we talk about purpose and living what makes you matter, right? In your business, giving meaning behind your work, right? A lot of entrepreneurs find the day-to-day tasks and they get stuck in that grind, right? And they start to feel underwater and a lot of things piling up and fires to put out here and urgent messages to do here. All that stuff happens to us all, right? So today we're going to focus on finding real direction, finding real purpose in your business and what it takes to do that, what the secret ingredient is. And there's one that we're going to cover today that's really important that you may have heard before, maybe not. But when you hear today, it's going to hit a little differently because I'm going to take a different angle at things. All right. So I'm glad you're here. Before we get to the content of the show, go ahead and go to joesilvatraining.com/subscribe and subscribe to the podcast. All right. You'll get all the new episodes directly to your inbox. And you won't miss a thing. And you'll be glad because we're going to cover a lot of valuable information for this exact topic on taking your business from complacent, mundane, the everyday stuff to that higher level, right? You're a driven entrepreneur. If you're listening to this, likely means you have big dreams, big goals, and you're driven to more success. And that's where we're going to help you get to, all right? When you listen to these episodes, you're going to be able to apply what you learn to your business so that you can reach those goals, so that you can reach that income, so that you can make more impact with more people. That's exciting, isn't it? All right. So go ahead and subscribe now and let's dive in. All right. Finding direction and purpose in your business is important because without it, there's no reason to have your business, right? A lot of people punch a clock 9 to 5, right? You don't. You're an entrepreneur. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason that you don't punch a clock. And it's because there's something greater than simply existing that matters to you. There's a purpose behind your business. Now, a lot of us initially think, well, that maybe that's a lifestyle, right? I can create a lifestyle for myself. I have the freedom I want, only to be shackled later by our constant need to be involved in the business, right? It's almost like we create the opposite of what our dreams are, right? Our dream is to have this business that allows us to do whatever we want. We can work, we can attend family events, we can do whatever, right? But the reality becomes for most entrepreneurs that we get stuck in doing all the things, right? You're answering the emails, you're responding to customers, you're working on your website, whatever it is, right? You're doing all these things that take up your time, your energy, and maybe you can do them, but the question isn't, can you? The question is, should you be doing those, right? Because eventually when you start to do things that don't light you up, right? Those things that drain your energy just compounds and continues to drain your energy. All right. And when that happens, you start to lose the connection with your business. That's what I call a disconnected visionary, right? You have this big vision, you have these big goals, these big dreams, and then all the things start happening and you start focusing on all these little things. Okay. And you become disconnected from that original vision. And that's where things can go south. All right. We hear all the statistics out there of businesses that don't make it, right? 1 out of 3 fail after 2 years, right? That's a huge stat, 33%. Okay. If you're somebody who wants to make it beyond, it doesn't want to be a simple statistic, then this is important because without your purpose, without your direction, without having more to drive you, that can lead to disaster if you don't have that. All right. So we're going to cover a few steps here that's going to help you out. And the first one, right, is that successful entrepreneurs know they need tools to find what's holding them back. All right. Find the blind spots they can't see yet. All right. That's critical. Any leader, anybody, and you are a leader in your business, but anybody, whether you're an athlete or a CEO in a corporation or an entrepreneur, right? There's things that we don't notice. There's things that we can't see, right? And once we finally see those, we can make those changes and replace the way we're handling those, or maybe not handling those at all. All right. So that's the first thing. Successful entrepreneurs know that these blind spots exist. They know there's things holding them back. Maybe it's a negative thought pattern of, hey, I just don't want to do this, right? I just don't want to put myself out on video to create more customers. I just don't want to go knock on doors to sell more customers, whatever it may be, right? Or maybe it's simply outdated habits that are no longer serving you as a leader, right? Maybe you're doing something and you have this habit that you've always done it this way, but you can't see that it's actually hindering your success. Let me give you an example. All right. If technology comes along and can automate something, right? Maybe you've been doing it one way, but you can get that off your plate now simply by investing in an automated software. Something as simple as sending out emails, right, to your email list, whatever it would be. Those things exist. And if we can't see those blind spots, it can hold us back for years, right? It could cost us tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars or more by simply not recognizing where our blind spots are, where our negative patterns are, where our outdated habits might be. That's step one, right? Being open to new ways of thinking, right? Taking time to really get into self-reflection and understanding what's around you, right? Leaders can gain new ways, new ways of thinking, and new ways of making decisions, new ways of taking action, right? You like to take action. As an entrepreneur, you're somebody who gets out there and takes action, right? Maybe there's a different way. Are you taking the right action? Are you taking the action that actually moves the needle, right? Are you establishing relationships with the right people to create your business? Okay, a lot of us get stuck in the mundane, complacent things. Well, I've always done it that way, so I'm going to continue to do it that way, right? And we get into leading ourselves, which is important, right? Once we lead ourselves past those things that we've always done and start to recognize those blind spots, then we can lead others, whether that's our customers, whether that's our team, whether that's our family, right? We can lead them to where we want to go and where they want to go. That's amazing. That's what leadership is all about, right? You go from drifting along and staying busy to actively achieving your goals on a regular basis. Now, you might be wondering, that sounds good, but how do I do that, right? And a big part of that, the secret sauce, if you will, is all about leadership coaching. It's about understanding that as a leader, I need to recognize these areas that need change, right? I'm not, just because something has worked always doesn't mean that it's always going to work, all right? Past results don't predict future outcomes. We hear that all the time on the infomercials and things, okay? So part of leadership coaching is coaching yourself, coaching others, or getting an outside perspective on what you could be missing. When you get that outside perspective, things start to shift in your business because, believe it or not, you do have blind spots. All of us do. And it's holding you back from what you can actually attain. If it wasn't, you'd already be at your goals. Am I right? So there's something holding you back, whether that's a fear of something, whether that's a doubt in your own mind, whether it's wondering what direction should I go, right? There's something holding you back. And when you receive leadership coaching around that, you can finally move on. And that's when things take off. That's when things go to the moon and beyond for your business. All right. So that's number one, is recognizing what's holding you back, those problems, those issues that are happening in your business. And here's what most people won't tell you, what most coaches or books or anything else out there won't tell you. It's not about how you're doing something. It's about how you're thinking, your mindset around it. All right. So that's the key with that leadership coaching there. The second part, the second step is really establishing that vision, those goals, those outcomes you want in your business, right? Leadership coaching helps entrepreneurs set realistic goals. And I don't mean realistic like I'm going to do something that I do every single day, right? It's realistic goals that align with your purpose. All right, we started this episode talking about finding direction and purpose in your business. So your goals have to align with your purpose. They have to align with your bigger vision. All right, the goals have to align with your values that you have. All right, everybody has certain values that drive your behavior. All right, and your vision has to align with those values, or else they're going to butt heads and there's going to be a problem and you're going to have something holding you back. All right, let me give an example of that. I was working with a client and they had big goals, big vision of reaching a certain milestone. They wanted to have $100,000 in sales during this quarter. Yet their mindset around selling was, that's, there's a problem with that, right? I don't want to be the slimy salesperson. Okay, so let's look at this and break this down a little bit. They want to sell $100,000 worth of services, yet they were thinking selling is unethical or slimy or used car style, right? You see the incongruence. You can see the problem there where those things are butting up against each other, right? That's obvious at this point. So our goals, our vision, our values have to align. And all we did was a simple reframe around their thought process around selling. And so we shifted them out of that. We're able to align their goals and their values around creating that income and that wealth, because that income and wealth helps more people, right? So we were able to shift them out of that so that they could reach that goal and then some. They actually blew past it and almost doubled it in the time period they wanted, right? And that also comes down to breaking those goals down into small achievable steps, right? You may have big goals, but they're so big and overwhelming. You're like, hey, that's never going to happen. It doesn't feel realistic. All we have to do from a leadership coaching standpoint is help you break that down into small achievable steps, right? And then it goes beyond that. That's where most coaches, that's where most programs stop. All right. So you read a book and it's like, yeah, set goals, set a vision, even maybe break it down into steps. Maybe it gets that far. But what happens next, right? This isn't about setting a goal. This is about what happens after you set the goal. All right. So you break it down into small steps and then take the time to monitor the results, right? Get the feedback daily. Am I taking steps towards this? Celebrating the wins. Yes. I am doing something towards that, and then adjusting as needed. All right. Maybe this didn't work. We try something else. But back to number one, if you don't have vision around those blind spots and those issues that are holding you back, you're not quite sure how to adjust as you go, right? Most of us as entrepreneurs are taught to push through adversity, right? To problem solve, to get things done, no matter what the cost. If that's staying up late, if it's waking up early, if it's working all night, whatever it is, we figure out the way to get things done, right? We just push along, plow along like we have a battering ram, right? And go through our issues, right? We can do that. That's one way. But just like a locomotive, right? There's only so far it'll go. Eventually it'll run out of fuel. It'll run out of steam. It'll run out of whatever drives a train these days. I don't know, right? So eventually you run out of energy, right? Or you can choose to use the feedback that you get along the way, right? You can see what happens after you set the goal, start taking steps, and then use feedback to adjust along the way. And that's what leadership coaching is all about, right? One of those ways is a long road. It might get you to the goal, but it's going to take some time, right? It might take some time to get to success. The other way takes you there in virtually no time at all. You're there like that, right? So this isn't just about setting goals. It's about what happens or doesn't happen after you set the goals, all right? Are you achieving the outcomes you want? Are you hitting those areas that bring you to your purpose, right? Or are you just forcing it through sheer hard work and grit and what you think is determination, right? That's what I used to do. It got me so far, but then I was stuck. I couldn't get any further. I was out of gas, right? I had to find a new way. And that new way was simply a mindset shift, right? So one of those is a long-term strategy, right? Where you're setting up that generational wealth. You're setting up that impact and income for years and decades down the road. The other might get you through tomorrow, right? That sheer will and determination might get you through tomorrow, but how many more times will that work, right? The choice is yours on that. Leadership coaching is for the long term, all right? Third area that can help in is managing the problems and issues that come up. All of us as entrepreneurs, we've got issues. We've got problems. Things come up, right? And that can be both external, right? And how we react to external problems, maybe a customer, maybe a vendor, maybe something isn't going right. And internal issues, internal problems right here, right? The fear, the self-doubt, right? The imposter syndrome. Am I good enough to do this? What if people think I'm a fraud? What if it all falls apart tomorrow? These things used to keep me up at night until I decided to shift my way of thinking around it, right? So leadership coaching can help entrepreneurs identify and understand the root cause behind those problems and issues, right? If there's a fear or doubt or limiting belief that's holding you back from achieving your goals, you can determine what that is through leadership coaching. And once you know what that is, There's simple ways to rewrite and replace those thoughts, replace those issues and those negative beliefs with empowering beliefs that take you to that next level. It's that simple, right? Has there ever been think about this, has there ever been a time where you learned something new and thought, well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be going in, right? Or maybe you tried even a food or something, and ahead of time you're like, oh, that looks terrible, right? And then you actually tried it and it's really good. It becomes one of your favorite things, right? That's a simple shift in the way you thought about that. Okay, you discovered, okay, I was thinking one way, I'm going to change it to the other, and you had success, right? It's that simple, and the same as with your business. All right, fourth thing we're going to talk about when it comes to leadership coaching is around what you do daily. All right, whether that's creating new habits or getting rid of negative habits, what you're doing daily impacts the daily results, right? Leadership coaching helps entrepreneurs like you learn how to build those new habits that actually support the proper mindset you need to achieve your goals. And on top of that, eliminate whatever is holding you back, whatever is keeping you spinning your wheels. Again, this kind of ties into everything else we've talked about today, right? When you've got these negative thought patterns of, am I good enough? What happens if they find out I'm not what they think I am, whatever it is, right? I'm afraid to put myself out there, right? I don't want to come across as, somebody I'm not, right? Am I good at all those thoughts and negative feelings, right? When you get rid of those, right? When you understand that you can create actually empowering thoughts, that's when the change happens. It's about doing more of what supports your vision and your purpose and less of what doesn't. And that's key in living your purpose in your business and elevating everybody to a new level. All right. One other thing I'll mention in this episode is that leadership coaching, it can help with deeper communication. All right. And what I mean by this is when you change your own pattern of thinking, right? You change your own way of thinking, it in turn helps you create meaningful changes for those around you, right? Your team, your staff, your employees, your vendors, whoever it is, when they interact with you, they're going to understand like, oh, okay, there's a different way here of doing this, right? It can help leaders like you understand that a simple shift in your mindset creates better results, right? And allows all of those around you to pick up on those habits, pick up on that style, pick up on the vision that you have and row the boat with you, right? You go the same direction with you. So when you add in leadership coaching to everything that you have, that's when you can create a more positive and optimistic way of thinking. And that directly impacts the behavior of yourself and your team around you. Now, most coaches, most business books out there will say, hey, as an entrepreneur, right, delegate things off your plate, right? Hand them off to somebody, right? That's step 2 at the earliest. All right. Creating process, right? Figure out a process around that and hand it off to a virtual assistant. That's missing a step. That's missing the leadership coaching ahead of time. That's missing the mindset shift ahead of time that is necessary to really bring that home, to really live that day in and day out. Because your behavior is a direct reflection of your mindset, of what you're thinking. And if you're thinking the whole time, I've got to do all these things, right? And you've built your business through the hustle and the grind of handling everything, handing it off to somebody is a huge shift, right? That can be a difficult transition because you need to trust that person to do it. You need to trust yourself to lead them and much, much more. So it's about shifting out of those negative thoughts, those old ways of thinking, those old habits of thinking, and shifting into the new patterns. That's what leadership coaching is all about. So with the right mindset, the right tools behind that, and it's very simple. It's a very simple process. I take my clients through it regularly in a one-to-one setting, but you can benefit and tackle the goals that you have, right? You can manage those limiting beliefs when they come up, and you can create new ways to benefit yourself and your staff, right? You can build meaningful relationships and step into that leadership with purpose behind it. And that's why you're in business in the first place, isn't it? Is leading with purpose, right? So when you do that, your business will go to another level. If you're wondering why so many businesses out there plateau or struggle or just stay the same, stagnant, right? That's why they're starting at step 2 or 3. Oh yeah, I need to hire a team. It's about shifting that mindset first. When you take your mindset first, that's when the results come next, right? It's as simple as that. All right. To learn more about this, go ahead and go to my website. It's joesilvatraining.com. And there's free resources there. And there's one in particular about getting out of the small thinking and into the big thinking. All right. That's going to be your first step to leadership coaching mindset. And that's critical for everything you want to do. When you get that download, go ahead and listen to it, and you'll be glad you did, because you may just find it be the necessary thing to spark that new shift that you need to reach your goals. And when you're ready to find that direction and find that purpose in your business, that's when this all matters. All right. There's more for you than the day-to-day, isn't there? There's more for you than simply doing what you did yesterday. You have greater meaning. You have greater impact to create. And after you start shifting your mindset, you'll start creating that impact you've always wanted. All right. I'm glad you're here. Go to joesilvatraining.com, get that free resource today, and you'll be glad you did. I'll see you on the next episode.